Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. The topic of discussion is From Oracle to Postgres, Understanding Core Differences for a Successful Transition. I'm Annie, your host, and for the speaker of this session, I have with me Umair Shahid, who is the founder at Stormatics. So before we start, I would like to share the usual housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording of the webinar will be shared afterwards. Feel free to use the Q&A feature or the webinar chat box for your queries. The questions will be answered in the Q&A segment near the end. And that's it from my end. Over to Umair.
Thank you, Annie. And okay, so we're here today primarily targeting people who might be moving from the Oracle world to Postgres or trying to learn Postgres coming from the background of Oracle. Now, the reason why, let me just show you a few slides and we'll get to the reason why I chose this topic for today. A very brief introduction about me. I've been working in the Postgres space for more than 20 years. I am currently running Stormatics, and we provide professional services for Postgres. My expertise is in critical production databases, and I author not just blogs, but also white papers and case studies, and I speak at various different events and at webinars, one of which you are currently a part of. Stormatics is the professional services organization, and our objective is to reliably scale Postgres for mission-critical data, work with our customers to ensure that they have fun using Postgres. And for people that might not know or might be coming from a background where Postgres is new to you, a very brief introduction of what Postgres is. It's an object relational database with a very liberal open source license. It's compliant to the SQL standard. In fact, the Postgres community is very heavily involved in defining this, the SQL standard and are thought leaders in the committee that evolved that standard. Like any reliable relational database, Postgres is also ACID compliant. It complies with the atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability that is expected of a database that's worth its salt. It supports not just structured, but also unstructured data. There are specialized data types native to Postgres that allow for unstructured data like JSON and XML. And it's highly extensible. That is one of the core features of Postgres. And it is part of that design is a part of the very first paper that was presented that proposed the creation of Postgres many years ago. Michael Stonebreaker, when he wrote that first paper, defined how to architect the database such that hooks can be built in to extend the functionality. A bit of a history lesson. It started off as the Berkeley Postgres project in 1986. So this is a common misconception that I get from people new to Postgres, that it's a database that is relatively new. It's not. It's been around for a long time, for almost 40 years now. And the implementation started in the University of California, Berkeley. And I just mentioned it was led by Michael Stonebreaker. He was the one who presented the very first paper that proposed the creation of this open source database. And that initial project was sponsored by a bunch of defense organizations in the US. In 1994 is when it became open source. An SQL interpreter was added. The efficiency was increased to make it faster. And in 1996, the name PostgreSQL was given to the project, and that is how it exists. That is how we know it today. Now, why are we here and why are we talking about Postgres in the context of Oracle? Well, The popularity of the database of Postgres has been rapidly rising amongst application developers. For 2 years in a row now, in the Stack Overflow survey, the annual Stack Overflow survey, Postgres has turned out to be the most loved and the most used and the most desired or appreciated database amongst the application developer community of Stack Overflow. And as more and more enterprises are turning to Postgres because of this popularity, um, people, experts of Oracle, we have gotten feedback, are looking to expand their skill set and adding Postgres to their portfolio. And because of the kind of questions that we were getting from these Oracle experts, I felt that there wasn't enough literature available to enable cross training and ramping up on Postgres skills. And even though both Oracle and Postgres are databases, both are relational databases, both are ANSI and SQL compliant, um, there are some differences, and there isn't enough literature that highlights those differences, and that's why I decided to hold this webinar to focus on this topic. And as part of this section, what we will cover are 7 broad areas that are listed over here. We in no way will be able to do a deep dive on any one of them. We'll just skim the surface just to give you an idea of the nuances as you move from Oracle to Postgres, the things to be mindful of, what is different, and how your database may need to be restructured or redesigned, or how your thought process might need to evolve as you create and as you start using Postgres. So even if you're not migrating from Oracle to Postgres, if you come from an Oracle background and now want to start using Postgres, these are nuances that you need to keep in mind. So first up, we're going to talk about schema. Now, the general concept of schema is that it is defined as a collection of database objects, and it provides a namespace for these objects. So,